going. We are now live, and we are joined by special guest, Blessing Alfred T. Sanger, who knows a ton about advanced socionics. So, Alf, if you could tell us about what is all this plus and minus business, and is it the same thing as spin or not?
Well, it's Victor's way of actually trying to, more accurately describe the differences between, the types sharing the same dominant functions in the ego block.
Right.
Yeah, that's the easiest way I can actually explain it as.
So, is the plus and minus, is it the same thing as the spin?
What do you mean by the spin?
Well, now we have Scott. So, Scott, if you give us your view of, you were talking about the blocking and the spin. If you give us your view of that, your understanding of that.
Well, so to me, my understanding with blocking and spin are two different things. So the plus-minus functions, where they basically correspond to the blocking. For instance, Ti minus is blocked with Ne, while Ti plus is blocked with Se, and that changes the way that Ti expresses itself. In the case of Ne, Ti is used to build expansive systems and to consider different possibilities, possibilities of the way things could be structured in the future, or different options that you have. Whereas in with Ti plus, it's more about designing things in the here and now, and the structure of the world around you, and altering that structure, living within that structure, understanding that structure.
Oh, I think I get what you're trying to say. Victor,
okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Victor would argue that it's not the difference between it's not a quadra of differences, but rather because it's more of it's something to do with what's called positivism and negativism. So, if I'm going to use the alpha as an example, the logical intuitive introvert has got a negative Ti, whilst the ENTP has got positive Ti. And if you're going to go on with the betas,
wait, this is where I think we're differing here, because the definition of plus-minus functions I'm using is a definition that's in Wikisocion here. This definition here. And what it says here is that pluses and minuses are a convenient convention used by many socionics to separate what they mean to two parts of the same element. For alpha and gamma, irrational functions are given plus, and rational functions are given minus, whereas for beta and delta, irrational functions are given minus, and rational functions are given plus. So what I think here is that we're using two different definitions of plus-minus, and that might be the confusion we're having.
Yeah, that's not surprising. In socionics, there are many sub-theories. There are many theories. There are socionists.
Yeah.
Right.
Victor has got his own definitions, his own socionics, and some of it is not compatible with classical socionics, and that can be said about any socionic school.
The other thing that frustrates me a little bit about Victor is that he likes to use the same words that classical socionists use. Like in his Model G, for instance, he has a function he calls a demonstrative function, and he calls a function he calls a creative function, but they're different functions. It would seem like maybe it might be a good idea to come up with new words so that it's obvious which one you're using. It's like in a Hangout earlier, somebody talked about the demonstrative function. They said they had demonstrative FE when they meant Model G demonstrative. I'm thinking, well, what type could they possibly be? They're, that has demonstrative FE, given that they're supposed to be an IP type, and there's no IP types that obviously have demonstrative FE in Model A.
Yeah, it only makes sense if you know about Model G.
Yeah, you have to understand.
Right.
You have to understand Victor's socionics in and out, because it's not compatible with with classical socionics at all. That's unfortunate.
So what should we learn? Should we learn Victor's socionics? Should we learn?
Well, there is no. I guess each time all socionic schools have got their own variations. They are only compatible from a distance, even if they orient towards the classical.
The position of my channel is that we should learn Victor's socionics. Given that he's on my channel, position, the official position. and Alf puts his money where his mouth is, literally, because he pays to be in the Eureka Club.
Oh yeah.
What club?
Oh, you tell us about it, Alf.
Club Eureka. That's Victor's premium club. It's about $30 a month.
What do you mean by premium?
Oh well, we have to pay to be in it.
Is this like an in-person club?
Well, currently I'm a distant member, but then if I was actually a member in Ukraine, I'll be able to actually to meet him each and every Sunday. He holds a meeting, each and every Sunday. Where
Oh,
we
I see.
discuss,
So the people who go to his meetings that we've seen in some of our hangouts are people who are members of this club, then?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, I got it.
I also get research material, I also get newsletters from him. And I guess, any other secret information he's working on.
Secret information.
Yeah.
Not secret anymore.
Well, yeah, Alf and I keep a lot of stuff secret that Victor sends us.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Well, and I can talk about Model G. So, for instance, we've got EII and LII that are both Model G Creative NI, and for the EII they have them as T+.
I was going to say, I know what they both are.
Sorry, the LII.
Oh, and so's the Socionics. Yeah. More thinking of something a bit more crude.
Yeah. So, for instance, you were talking about positive and negative, Alf, and I think... If you tell us what you think that means for the EII, then I can match that up with the profile.
This is frustrating. I mean, I find it hard to understand this without having the structure somehow, like where these pluses and minuses are coming from, in for Galenko's model.
Need diagram.
I will show you a diagram, although there might be a system crash. I will risk it.
Well, you send me the diagram.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
I'll send it to you, Stephen, and then you can show it. Actually, I posted them all in Socionics International.
Right.
Yeah,
an album with all the Model Gs.
Yeah, I was meaning to look through that.
Yeah, so Alf, you were saying that in the way Victor uses plus and minus, he's using it as negative and positive. In terms of, so, for instance, what he has for the FINI is that the way they use NI is, now this first sentence is in bad. It's about premonitions of the situation. Right, and then this next one's clearer. Is doing everything in its power to prevent or mitigate the impending danger. So again, a negative intuition. And then we have a bad... Yeah, this is for the EII. NI for the EII. And then for Dostoevsky. Right, and then I've got to try and translate this. Right, this is saying something about how the times are connected together.
Can you send me that? Is this the stuff you actually shared on Facebook?
No, this is the stuff. Yeah, yeah. Stephen can send them because I don't want to risk because my laptop's very hot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I found them.
Yeah. They learn from the past. They're good at allocating time between different things, and then just about them being punctual. Even if they know they can be late, they don't be late. But that negative thing about...
There's one we know who likes to be late.
Yeah. But, oh yes, but that one... this thing here though, mitigate or prevent impending danger. So is that what it's like then, Alf? The negative version. They see bad things happening in the future.
I've only seen this being used to describe, the The LII and the ILI.
I seems to have a predicts negative things in the future. Definitely.
So anyway, Victor is sometimes going to confuse him with his schematics. He's not entirely consistent with them. And apparently, yeah.
This profile, I don't know if you've seen it, Alf, where it's on it's on Lady Lullaby's channel. I go through, in the second video I did with him, I go through the LII profile with David Kersey Jr. And the reason that's significant is that his father based his INTP architect profile on his son.
Oh yes.
And I think his son is an LII, because going through this profile of how weak the business logic is in the LII. So for instance, to talk about how the LII will have in Victor's Model G profile, has a load of business ideas, but they don't have the energy or the organizational ability to implement them. And
so what are we supposed to do?
Well, we have to grit our teeth and do it slowly but surely. Or
we should
somebody else.
Right, that was my question. Should we be passing our ideas to some other people who will then implement them for us, and we're like consulting them with them or something, or we should be gritting our teeth and doing it anyway, even though we hate it, or we should be, like, what is the solution to this problem?
The solution is, well...
what problem are we talking about here?
Well, the business logic being
The LIIs have good ideas, but they don't have the ability, they don't have the patience and to actually implement the ideas, even though they have good ideas.
Well, I think you could publish...
How should we?
Well, you could publish the plan. Write a book on business for other people.
Well, that's all well and good, but the book probably sells for like $10, and the person makes millions who actually implements it, or something like that.
That's the problem. That's the problem, isn't it? With the LII is that
pay more. Yeah.
Like I said, David said that he has a load of people helping him out. I mean, he created the website because he was like a big computer scientist and he worked at Hughes Defence. So he was so for him to be able to create a website in '96 was a piece of pie for him. But all the business is not. He's like a super INTP. Like he's all interested in mathematics and physics.
And there's that Kersey magazine. It's free.
Yeah.
Business logic is kind of not there.
Well, there's something to be said for making some of your stuff free, though. Like, Galenko right now, I think we're having a hard time. Part of it's probably Russian, and part of it's, a lot of it is in Russian. A number of reasons we're having a hard time figuring out exactly what Galenko means. I think maybe Galenko might be more likely to sell stuff if people understand, understand the basics of it, but we're having a hard time with some of the fundamental things he's talking about right now.
Well, we are going to... It will come out.
That's what I'm actually working on in translating some of his stuff.
Yeah, Elena's also going to be working on... I've got her to work on... for a future hangout, she might be working on the SLI profile in Model G, and I might be able to get Maria to work on the IAI profile.
Why the SLI one?
Yeah, because we're doing SI. We're doing SI hangouts, and
I think you mean SEI perhaps, or SLI and SEI.
No, we're doing both. I've done a rough translation. I've done a translation of SEI that's acceptable to Victor, but all I've done is sort of. Have I shown it yet? I don't know if I've shown it. Where is it? No, actually, I don't. I have to get permission about what I can share. No, I can't share that. But you can do share screen now, can't you, Stephen?
What am I supposed to be showing?
Well, did you find them? Did you find the files?
Oh, I found some files, but they don't seem to be the ones. I found these.
I posted a load of them on Socionics International.
As a matter of the things getting bumps up. I mean, I have the model VNI, which I don't think is that's the functions. Yeah. I'll show you what I've got.
Is your Skype file transfer working?
Oh, I don't know. It's It's a matter of
I'll try and send some over Skype. Because I can send you the whole lot quickly if it works.
Right.
You'll see
what I've got.
Excellent.
This is the one. This is the one.
Ah, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's one. I've downloaded this one, so I will now.
That's,
You can see it. There's nothing to do. Let's expand it. Options. Expand. I did download this, of course. Now you'll see this. Oh.
Yeah, I've got all the 16 Model A's and G's up there.
Okay.
Look at management.
What are we talking about right now?
Rather than program.
Oh, it was just sort of like saying what the structure of Model G, what it fits into.
Yeah, and then Scott mentioned something about Victor's ideas being difficult to understand because it
Yes.
Russian and well, I've spent the past over a year trying to understand these ideas, and I've realized that I've been seeing a lot of contradictions in his models. Because I understand a lot, yet I still feel like
You mean internal contradictions with itself, or contradictions with other
with
socionics?
with his own definitions, and I've been trying to understand why exactly. Because I didn't want to seem stupid, because I wanted to understand exactly how he understood, because all these ideas make sense to him.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and that's from
I think. Oh, what I did, I can tell people is I posted. Oh, wait a minute, I can share this. I posted the SEI profile in the ISFJ group, and one person was commenting about how closely it fitted her.
was it Laura?
No, not Laura. It was somebody else. It was. I've yet to do the video with her. I'll do a video with her where we can go through the Model G. Yeah, I just remembered. I can share that one, so I can send that one to Stephen, and he can show that.
This is so different. It's crazy.
I know, it was a mind bender when I first looked
Oh
at
my
it.
god! Black inflation, unit of self-affirmation, block inflation. Sorry, social mission, block social.
I think that's
adaptation.
great. I think that's fantastic. I think
They
that
call
makes
it
sense to
management.
me.
It's called management rather than program function. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh whoa!
Scott,
Please,
what's
I
up?
don't like it being different.
Scott, what's up?
Me, I am an LII.
Okay. Anyway, I've been studying Victor's ideas, I guess, for over a year, nearly 2 years now. And I guess, one of the troubles I've been having is the Quadra values. Because, I've found that, personally, I don't quite fit into any one of the Quadras.
I think he
Really?
said in the Hangout that he doesn't use Quadras anymore. He uses his temperaments. I think he might have said the Quadras were old-fashioned.
Oh, his temperaments, by now, to be clear, his temperaments means the standard IP, IJ, EP, EJ, or does he have other set of temperaments?
I
Okay.
call them the
Just making sure.
Yeah, I call them the Young-Galenko temperaments, or we could call them the functional temperaments.
Right,
really?
but they're just basically the standard socionics temperaments.
Yeah.
Right?
Ben, did he
Yeah.
tell you this today?
Pardon?
Did Vix actually tell you that he's actually abandoned the Quadra values because they're quite inconsistent? Because
Oh,
on his
Yeah,
website,
yeah, go on.
on his website, he's got a ranking of how reliable the concepts in socionics are, and apparently Quadra values are 60% reliable. Yes, they are
That's
true,
quite
but
low.
they are not
What's that mean?
entirely true for everyone.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
the
is
thing.
that there are SLEs with gamma values.
Yeah,
Huh.
because he talks a
Yeah.
lot about functional accentuation, doesn't he? And he even says
yeah.
that with his temperaments, that the subtype, the DCNH subtype, can affect someone's. And even in that chapter, Alina translated part of chapter 6 from Victor. Victor has a book called Humanitarian Socionics, and he actually said in the book that pure temperaments don't exist.
Huh.
And that people are a mixture of temperaments.
Mhm.
Meaning like the
Young-
DCNH, you have
Which version is
two
it? Because I've got
temperaments.
one from 2009.
It's from Alina's book. and it's in the other in the
Yeah.
PDF preparation. You read it, Stephen. Did it say something about the temperaments are not 100%?
It does.
Oh,
Does
yeah,
the
but
book
yeah,
have,
that correlates with what he said before about people actually being stuck between two subtypes as well. The
Hmm.
shift would be between two of them. There's some kind of
But-
suggestion, yeah.
But what does this have to? So I mean, you're saying he doesn't like using Quadra values. Instead, he wants to use temperaments, but the temperaments and Quadra values are two completely different concepts.
That's what I mean.
Oh yes.
Mm.
And also, if you're saying his Quadra values are 60% reliable, what does that mean exactly? I mean,
Well,
and
it's
it's like maybe his Quadra values are just badly defined. Maybe he needs better Quadra values.
No, maybe that.
Quadra values are not badly defined. They are what they are. They're in line with the classic socionics.
Yeah.
But then when you actually start, analyze the Quadra values closely, and then try to find out how they compare with what you call it, with the reigning traits and
Yeah.
even the Jungian foundations, like introversion, extroversion. You find that you can have an LII with the gamma values, but
Yeah.
the person is an LII because
But how does that
he's the
work?
dominant.
Are you
That's
sure
because
we're not?
he's,
What,
it's because the person's dominant preference is structural logic.
I'd be interested if someone could tell me the
What do
remind
gamma
me
values
of
look like?
the actual Quadra values. I don't remember them.
Yeah, that'd be great. If you could do that
Yeah.
out, if you could go through it and
Anybody.
see if it
No.
matches, because the way Jack describes it, it leads to a lot of people who are not happy with their typing.
Well, Jack has got his own socionics. It's incompatible with
Yeah,
Victor.
that's what I thought.
That's his, in socionics, the socionics is incompatible with itself when you look at it when you closely. That's just a fact. I mean, just the similar terminology just creates the illusion that
But there
Oh,
are in the Hangouts. The theme in the Hangouts we've been
Yeah.
doing is that there's a lot of commonality between
Oh
Dario
yeah, that is true.
and Victor,
Oh yeah.
and Stephen did it. I can say this to people.
Yeah.
Stephen did a great service by he sent his copy of Neuroscience of Personality to
I
Victor
did.
Blanco.
Yeah, with handwritten notes as well.
Yep.
Not enough notes. If I'd had it for longer, I would have put more notes in there.
And Dario sent him the PDF of 8 Keys to Self-Leadership, which is a very good book. It's Dario's functions book. He sort of combined it with a little bit of it's almost NLP-esque, and
It sounds like a very helpful book for what I want to get involved in.
it's great. I can even show it on camera. It's
Corruption and crime.
it's great. It gives advice for how to improve. So, for instance, Dario will say, and he actually there's a bit at the back of the book that he should have mentioned. It's like evidence for the Jungian functions. And it's such a useful book. So he will say for SI, and Scott, this is why we're covering it in 3 or 4 hangouts.
Ben, it sounds like you really appreciate Jung's theories.
Yes.
It's profound. I find Jung to be profound.
And
Even the more airy-fairy.
yeah, what I was saying, like, and Victor's temperaments and his model G, he's very consistent with Jung, and I think Elena said he was. I think you could tell us about this, Alf. Is Victor actually a Jungian analyst?
Yes, he is, but again, there is no guarantee of entire compatibility between the theories. Yes, I mean the overlaps are pretty obvious.
Who was it said something about Jungian analysis?
Yes.
But it's not a very good term because the analysis is very much unique when it comes to the person who's being helped or being improved. It was Thomas, not the well-known Thomas More, the lesser-known Thomas More said that it's really should be called analysis, not Jungian analysis, even though it's influenced by Jungianism. Because each person, their dreams, etc., they have to be taken rather objectively. It's a whole new. You have to really create a new system for each person, if you see what I mean. So yeah, if people want to call themselves Jungian analysts, they can. It's Jung wouldn't like us saying that. He would say no. I don't want people to call themselves Jungian analysts.
Right. So just to because we're going to make this an advanced socionics hangout. Alf, if you tell us,
Yeah.
what are the Quadra values?
Okay, I'll just read them. I've got them in. Where is it?
That's what I tell people, that Jack has his own school of socionics, and he sees himself as a separate school.
Yeah, he is the separate school. We can't, we can't deny that. It is a fact.
Grandstanding. Somewhat.
And
I mean, also you need to know that Victor is also hated in the East now. Ever since he started exploring Model G, apparently, there's been a backlash against him.
yeah,
And
it's
he's been criticizing those people as.
it's in his Model G profile of the LII that we come up with innovative theories that the people are not happy with because we innovate.
My bookshelf stands testament to the innovation of.
Okay, I'll just read the.
Oh, thanks, Scott.
I'll
I'll just
find
put
the
that link
document right now.
somewhere.
I'll keep quiet. I'll give space for thought.
Sorry.
It's okay, Al.
I'm sorry. We're patience itself.
So what we're going to do? So what we're going to do, viewers, is go through the Quadras. If Alf describes, like, say, the alpha values, and then we discuss them, and then we sort of move around in that sequence.
I'll just read a small definition in the subtype brochures there. And Victor says that the alpha quadra is an ecosystem of 4 sociotypes, which are the seeker, which is LIE, the enthusiast, which is ESE.
LIE?
Yeah, it's ILE.
ILE.
Yeah, and then the enthusiast, which is ESE, the mediator.
Yeah, if we use function codes, then we won't. So, saying the ENTP, the NETI, or NETE in Model G.
And well, I guess you should know that by now. Anyway, they are united by, apparently, according to Victor, they are united by family and educational values, and they perform harmonizing, in the Sociana, which means that they tend to seek peace, and they're not assertive, and they don't have either the power, because they don't value this sensation of force, or the business logic. They don't have the technical, the resourcefulness. That's the deltas and the
yeah. But although when I talked about just on that point of, because I talked to David Cozy Jr. about this, about the inventor, the equivalent of the ENTP, and I talked to him about Model G. I said NETE, and he said that I asked him, do ENTPs have good business logic? And he said some of them do. Some of them have very good business logic. And he talked about his brother-in-law having founded 3 companies, but actually being very, very shy. But he was expressive in the way he interacted in his world, but actually socially very, very shy.
Victor agrees with that. That's why he says that the extroversion is kind of slightly misleading for the extroverted logical types, Because I mean, whilst they may have a lot of contacts, they are not really people oriented.
It's expressiveness.
Yeah, they've got a lot of social contacts. They come up, they come into contact with a lot of people in their business dealings or in their just sphere of activity, whether that be in the technocratic field for the ST types or the research field for the NT types.
Yeah. So they're actually expressive. The T types are expressive in actually getting stuff done, whereas we TINEs or TINIs, we don't implement. We need to grit our teeth and actually try to implement things.
Yeah. In a way, yes.
Or fit ourselves into a structure where we can. So, for instance, as a director, I would have all the plan for every single shot, and then I would hand it over to the director of photography, and I would concentrate on directing the cast. And I would plan everything. So theoretically, I'm doing all of the planning, but then I would be doing it, and I would say plan every shot with the cinematographer, and then he would implement it. So it would be like so much preparation. So I think they can be, but they have to work with other people in order to do the implementation.
Yeah. Then the other thing is that they prefer to work alone.
Yeah.
Just all introverted logical types.
Like yeah, I can give. Yeah, just one thing. What reminded me is David Kersey Sr. The only reason why Please Understand Me came out as a book was because Marilyn Bates was a critic. What I mean is NITE, and she actually typed up his lecture notes and said, "Hey, we've got to do this book. Please understand me," because he had problems implementing things and getting stuff done. And
I understand that. I understand that tendency to push people to bring out these books. I'm forcing several. I'm pushing several people to bring out certain books. I'm not. I'll say nothing else. But I'm pushing them.
So if we go back to Alpha now, and you continue your talk about the alphas, if you want to.
Okay, so I'll be finished with the.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we didn't really get much. Okay. What's the next point? Ben.
What's the next point?
Do you mean, are we now going to the next part now?
Oh no, I thought you had more to say about the alphas.
Okay, I guess after say that they are not they don't have the resourcefulness or the power to actually to dominantly influence society. Then
wait a minute.
Victor would actually get to that and say that
I would say ENTPs do quite well in society, implement a lot of inventors. I mean, that's what he calls them, the inventor. In Kersey.
Yeah, but that's Kersey, and with Victor, Victor just says that the alphas just don't have the resourcefulness or the or the power to actually get any that much change into.
But this is the problem is that half of that's true. I would say for SIFE and for TINE, that's absolutely true. But like the ESFJ has a ton of energy, and if they go into business, they can get a lot done.
But business is all about being resourceful and apparently not appreciating business logic or pragmatic logic. Makes them much weaker at that.
I think if we look at subtypes with ENTP, I think if a lot of the ENTPs are like Enia type 7, and just want to enjoy themselves, then yeah, I would agree with that. But some of them can be like TE subtypes and get more stuff done. So I would
Well,
actually agree with what you said about the alphas.
apparently, Jack is a TE subtype, but then he is an Enneagram type 7, I think.
Yeah,
He's a 7.
Yeah, he is a confirmed by Victor. Or what I can say is I can confirm Victor's opinion is Jack is dominant in Victor's
Yeah, and
point
also
of view.
Victor also goes beyond that. He says that he's got a centralist. He's got centralist values, which is why he's quite dominant. Because I mean Victor.
Yeah, if you give some examples.
Well, apparently, centralism is more of an anomaly for ILEs because it's related to power. And apparently that's where Victor says that Jack is an anomaly because he's very good at he's quite good at organizing people, and that's something that only centralist types are. Power types are actually.
What types of types?
I guess the beta and the
centralist. I didn't understand what that meant.
Centralist types. Those are types that value. He's got this new terminology for describing the two quadras, the gammas and the betas, or the power hungry quadras apparently.
Oh, okay. So it's an SE value in Quadra then. The decisive types then.
If you use
the new word.
Yeah, Victor actually prefers to call them centralist types because he says that they dominate society, but he actually doesn't like the word decisive because he says that the
Sorry, which word doesn't he like?
Decisive because it says that the ESI and the LSI are actually not decisive. They are actually judicious. They are judicious instead. Because they do everything methodically. They don't rush into anything. So describing them indecisive is actually inaccurate.
Because folks, in Model G, LSI is TISI.
And the ESI is FISI.
Yeah.
They're actually quite judicious in the way they. But at the same time, Victor would say that they are still. That's why he prefers the term centralist because they're still quite dominant in society.
Alf, could you just for a moment tell us, and then you can go back to the quadras. If you tell us about the difference between the creative function in Model G, and I'll just say what I know, and then you can. What I know about Victor's creative function position, is that he says it's done. It's not really thought about or talked about. It's just something that is done.
Really?
That's just like the demonstrative in the Model A, though. I mean,
I know. But Alf,
why do we need to give it a new name and move it to a new position?
Well, I'm just saying Alf has more information because what information do you have on that position, Alf?
Well, I think I sent you a message, the other day about this. And from what I've read, Victor says that the creative actually, it takes into account local conditions, or that are in line with the missions, with the personality's mission, and the mission is driven by the dominant function.
Right. Oh yeah, I was just saying, Stephen, I sent you all the files over Skype.
Thank you.
If you could share them as Alf talks about them, I've arranged them in all of the young Galenko temperaments.
Yeah, it says incoming files. That's good. Let's have a look.
And I've actually got the Model A's next to the Model G's.
Good.
And so if you open it with Image Viewer, then you can zoom in and zoom out quite quickly.
Yes. Yeah. It starts with how it was done.
Yeah.
Right. Open there.
Close Skype now.
That would be Image Viewer. Yeah. There's so many image viewers.
Have you got a scroll wheel on your mouse?
No.
Yeah, I should have recommended this one.
No, but I have got a mouse. Thing is, I've got another mouse that has a scroll wheel, so I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all.
Yeah, I should have recommended that one rather than the Logitech.
No, I like it. No.
Okay.
I'm very happy. It's not. Right. So, now.
So do you need to click on present to everyone for the people to see it in the recorder?
I haven't been doing that. So let's entire screen.
I think that's how it works.
I should be able to. Yeah, so I'll click on square.
Right.
That will present to everyone. Oh, pardon me.
Right. So if you just go, yeah, that's it. If you go.
Oh God. What the hell? Right, where are we? There we are.
There we go.
So can you all see this?
Yep.
Thing on the
Fine.
screen? I'll get the zoom in.
Yeah, it's perfectly clear. Is it clear for everyone?
What's...
Right, so we were talking about ENTP, so we were talking about
Oh,
NETI. So if we go, then we can just show the folks watching Model A NETI, then Model G. So yeah, if you go ahead a few, Stephen, because then you'll get, because you've got all the EJs.
Ah.
Yeah, Chris, something's popped up. Who's this? Is that Maria?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Maria's. Yeah. Oh yeah. You send a message then. So. No. This is a different hangout. I'll say. This is. Hangout.
Now I'm a bit confused. There are only two of these.
Do you think she could join? Because I think she...
Yeah, she knows a lot.
lot.
Oh yeah. Lots of different systems. Kersey, Beeb.
You might as well let her join, I think.
Well, I'd want her to join. It's that she's got two artisan children that take time up.
I think she's a Hamlet child as well.
Yeah, so you can see I've got them all organised together.
Yeah,
No, if you-
okay, image.
Yeah, that's the one because you can zoom in easily.
I did that. Only two of the silly files came up. So let's go. Image viewer.
If you do that, you'll get about 16 of them open, won't you?
No, I didn't. That wasn't the problem. But the problem is that only two of the bloody files, two of the images come up. So what I'll do.
Even if you click on next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's mental.
Right, let's go to cartoons.
That doesn't make sense.
It does make sense. It's crazy. It's yet another thing. Another thing we have to thank the new version of.
Oh, how about if you used Gwenview?
Yeah, I'll do that next time.
Yeah, I'm remembering that now. Yes.
Now I've clicked on one. Yeah, so I clicked on one file. And then two of the buggers come up. Right, now we use lovely, faithful Gwenview. Right.
You only have to open one of them.
It don't help.
Oh,
it only opens two of the silly files. I have no idea why, because I didn't design it.
Are you in KDE? Oh yeah, you are. You're in KDE 5 at the moment.
New bloody KDE, bloody 5. Why?
Yeah, what happened was they went to Qt5, and because KDE is based on Qt, they're sort of like being stuffed by the Qt people.
So, right, so let's go to full copy screen.
Yeah, here we go. There you go. 5 from the left, second row down.
5 from the left. Okay. Right. That's 3, that's 1, need time, yeah.
Yep.
Slowly but surely it'll open. Ooh. See, some things work.
Yep.
What's the point of having an image viewer that doesn't open all the files?
Yeah, they are quite large because they did them with the camera. They're about 1.5 megabytes each.
But it still should. It's a bit techie for people. It still should open them. It still should sort of.
Yeah, that's right. It's about 33 large images in that album, I suppose is what it is.
Right.
Yeah, are you going on to the next one?
Oh.
Oh, there.
So, yeah, as you can see, I have many workspaces. Let's go back to so the next one, which I believe will be that one.
Yeah, is the Model G of the. Right, so there now, that position there, that's that position number 2, creative. If you tell us what you know about that position.
For the
Model G. Just in general, if you tell us about that position.
Well, I guess just point to the. Well, according to Victor, that function takes into account local conditions, and what he means by local conditions are, for example, if you're an irrational type, then your local conditions would be, the rational functions, which will be either, logic or ethics. Yeah. And apparently that's what he means by local conditions. When you, at the same time, your main mission is, I mean, the energy in your, the energy is like the, God, how to describe this? Is the sphere of orientation for the personality. That's where the personality devotes its focus onto.
Right.
So with the with the first 2 functions, that's why in Model G, the first 2 functions are all introverted or extroverted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got, so the social mission block. Those first 2, the lead function and the creative, are both.
And there's something interesting in some of them. They're arranged into levels of maximum, optimum, minimum, and pessimum. As that is.
Yeah, less than minimum.
Yes. Good word, isn't it?
Yeah, I learnt it from Victor. Whoa, a new word.
So I guess I'm a little confused. So local conditions. What does those terms mean exactly?
Well, they are. Okay, it's to do with rationality and irrationality. For example, when the local conditions are. Oh yeah. What?
So this is for an ILE here, and so this is for an ILE then. So we're talking about TE here, and we're saying that TE then deals with local conditions, which would refer to NE, TE, SE, and FE.
No, that's to do with business logic. For example, the main mission is to do with the program function. The dominant function is to do with ideas where ILEs are always chasing after the best ideas available, and then once they feel like whilst they're doing that, they're also taking into account local conditions, and the local conditions are ways of actually implementing those ideas, which is business logic.
I mean, even
so that's what they're getting from their creative function.
Oh yeah. The creative function takes into account local conditions that assist with the mission.
Okay, then what is the definition of local conditions that are taken into account by TE here?
Well, it's
is it NE also consider local conditions or just TE?
It's just context.
I guess the term local conditions is a kind of slightly metaphoric.
Does it mean context?
Yeah, in a way. It's whatever aspects of logic actually complementary to the.
I'll just say something to people. I would still call LIE, NI, NETI in this model because those are 2 functions that have the greatest energy in that blue column.
Really?
Even though Victor would say it is NETE. but it could still be called. I think he would get more love from people if he called it NETI and said it's still NETI. It's just that that's a close range, and because they're both.
Well, that is what
energy.
Victor disagrees with model A. That's one of the reasons why Victor is hated, by socionics. ENTPs are NETE because they don't really live by structural logic.
Yeah.
For example, that's their demonstrative function because they are not really interested in confining themselves around a theme.
Yes, Jack
which
mentioned
is
that.
introversion.
Yeah, and I ran that by Kersey Jr. and that actually fits the inventor, NETE.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, might this be part of the reason why he doesn't like Quadra values as much? Because, instead of the focus being here on NE and T, it's NE and NI and TI.
Yeah.
It's NE and T, and so T instead of TI, which is TE is not something valued in alpha.
Yeah, it's one of many reasons, but his ideas have kept evolving.
What I will say to folks is, the way I personally see the Quadras, it's about intertype relations.
That's what's important. Someone earlier suggested that you could have an LII who has gamma values, right? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Does that mean that the LII with gamma values would then do better in intertype relationships with gammas, or would they still do better, say, with an ESE? Or should they find an ESE with gamma values? What does it mean?
That is an important question. That is actually good.
But that's another question I have is, LIIs value structural logic, right? And you said that's why they're an LII. To me, valuing structural logic is an alpha value, not a gamma value. So it's hard for me to imagine how someone who values structural logic could be seen as having gamma values.
Okay, this is where you need to understand what structural logic is and what the values are. The Quadra values aren't. I mean, yes, they do overlap with with the way the information elements are defined. But then, again, back to the LII example, we can't really say that to determine whether somebody prefers structural logic. You have to look at the Jungian foundation. Actually, looking whether the person actually prefers introversion and logic, and not whether they actually prefer to live a structured life, which is what
Wait,
TI.
we're not. But wait, we're not saying that TI, when blocked with NE, in the Model A sense, would lead to wanting to lead a structured life.
Well, that is what valuing structural logic is.
Well, I don't see it that way, because I see it as valuing. For an alpha, it's about studying structure and understanding structure, and thinking about different ways things could be structured. It is specifically not about leading a structured life. That's the betas, I thought.
Oh well, your structure, it's like a which is Descartes' quote that I think therefore I am. The way you think, the way you view reality, then affects how you live your reality.
Right.
Your thoughts affect your actions. So when you actually value structural logic, you actually think of all the structure. You make sense of your environment, this yourself, and then you.
It could be something that exists. It could be something that is manifest, but it's so normal that you don't see it. If you see what I mean? It's like the little fish that doesn't realise it's in water. It's like the ILI who secretly is a devious, well, not really. Secretly is opportunist, but they don't realise it until somebody informs them of it. That that's what you really want.
Okay, so this LII with gamma values then. So this LII with gamma values, who you say values structural logic, but has gamma. So what specifically gamma values do they have that an LII they wouldn't have?
Well, gamma values are, again, I should actually read them to you here. Gamma values, according to Victor, they're characterized by individualism, valuing your, I guess I'll just read it to you.
Sure.
Gamma quadras are united by liberal and pragmatic values, and they perform a creative role in the socio. This means that they're characterized by individualism. They appreciate individual freedom, and they are prone to innovation and market expansion. But on the other hand, this leads to a rapid stratification of the difference in wealth between the rich and the poor. Anyway, that's the stuff he talks about. Because apparently the
So,
quadras actually describe the big picture social, I guess social, what's what I'm looking for? Social, huh?
I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, the key aspects here is that, the they value individual freedom. They are quite pragmatic.
So,
And,
sorry.
yeah.
So this LII then that we're talking about here, who would have gamma values, we're saying that they would be more pragmatic, or
Yeah.
I mean,
They will be more
what is
pragmatic.
right? But still, they value
Yeah.
structural logic.
Yeah, they still value structural logic, but then, in implementing their structure still, they're still aware of, they still consider what works and what does not work. But they're pragmatic.
But wait, I mean, see, this is confusing to me. Like, okay, so if you're looking at a
Yeah.
system, right, as an LI, you're trying to analyze a system and understand a system. It would seem like you would look at what works and what doesn't work. I don't understand how you wouldn't.
Yeah.
So where would this?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm trying to understand how the LII with gamma values would differ from the LII with alpha values.
Because the one with alpha values would actually they are less resourceful. They don't implement their ideas. They
Well,
do
that's
understand
fine.
structure, but they are unable to actually to implement their structure. They are
What about the other half of the values? Like, for instance, do they prefer FE or FI? Do they, are they, and, if you've got
Yeah.
somebody of the LII with gamma values, do they want to interact with other LIIs, or do they still want to interact with other alphas in terms of intertype relationships? Like, would they prefer an alpha?
Well, I mean, for their information exchange would still be alpha stereotypically, because it's just that is just the way they share information. So in a way, they'll still find it easier to, I guess, to exchange information with other alpha people. But then, their core values, because I mean, you can actually view socionics in terms of information exchange and then values. Those two necessarily do not actually align.
This is very confusing.
It
Huh?
is. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, what he's trying to do here is very confusing to me. So the LII with gamma values still communicates with their alphas and enjoys other alphas, which
Yeah.
means that they value things like FESI, for instance.
Well,
they would
their
value-
information
they would
exchange
value-
is alpha in nature.
But for instance, would they enjoy
the
FESI
values
heavy
they live
environment?
life in. Yeah. Huh?
Would they enjoy that? Would they enjoy an FESI environment, like like that kind of environment versus the kind of environment gammas tend to enjoy?
From the looks of it, they wouldn't quite. Even though their information is actually alpha in nature, I guess they wouldn't, because they don't value that. There's a
Right, that's
with any
confusing
function
here.
you can actually. I guess you need to understand that with any function, you can view it in terms of information exchange, and then you can also view it in terms of values. And those
But wait,
two
to be
necessarily
clear,
don't have to align.
okay, so when we say in terms of values, to me, when we learn about basic socionics, we learn that the first, second, fifth, and sixth functions in Model A are valued functions. So
Yeah.
what you seem to be saying here is that there could be LIIs who do not value FE and SI. Is that correct?
Yeah, but then their information exchange is is alpha in nature. I mean, because you need to understand that the functions have an information side and then a value side.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I guess so.
Yeah.
Maybe we're defining. Maybe
I guess Victor,
redefining the word value.
yeah, the word value is kind of misleading, and
But he's specifically saying so. So then, how do you determine what a type values? So does this mean that a type could value any function? So for instance, can a type value their ignoring function? So could you have an LAI who likes TE more than FE, for instance?
I guess you are defining a type by what it values instead of information preference, because those two are not quite the same.
From socionics, from what I understand of classical socionics, we can define two things about function, or a number of things, but two
Victor is not classical socionics. It's quite important to understand.
Yeah, I understand that, and what I'm trying to understand is what the differences are between what Victor says and what we learn in classical socionics. And in classical socionics, you have the functions that are some of them are stronger and some of them are weaker, and and you have the concept of valued functions, and some are valued and some are not. So for an LII, FE and SI are valued functions. But what you seem to be saying here is in Victor's model, there's information exchange, and then values are something else. So
they're not
necessarily value
aligned. Yeah, that's why you can have an SLE with with gamma values.
You can have an SLE, right? But what does it mean? It just means that they value different functions.
Well, they are defined by the fact that the SLE is defined by information preference, not values.
So what does information preference mean then? So for instance,
that's when it's the information that your personality naturally orients towards. It doesn't mean it's how you communicate and exchange information with other people.
So if I understand correctly, an LII would prefer to have FE and SI used in communications. Then, is that correct?
As information, they are naturally receptive to to FE, SI.
Right.
Information. But that doesn't.
So when we say so then the equivalent in Victor's socionics to the concept in classical socionics of valuing a function is to say that they prefer to receive information from that function or something to that effect.
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
Yeah. Because in one
does upbringing affect values now?
Apparently, it kind of affects what Victor calls accentuation, the strengthening of functions.
Okay.
And it can later actually distort your I think it does mention that it can later distort your quadra values.
Well, so that could be if functions are overly emphasized. For instance, if you have an LII and TE is overly emphasized in this particular LII, then you could have someone who looks more gamma-ish then.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
Nature, yeah.
Okay, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, but still the information exchange is still structured. Yeah, but at the same time, the information exchange is still quite structured. It's still alpha-like. It's still structured.
To me, if I look at this, I would say this LII is an alpha, but that this is sort of like maybe subtypes within alpha, where some alphas are more gamma-like and are able to implement their ideas, maybe some are more beta or delta-like, and relate differently there, but they're still LIIs and they're still fundamentally alpha.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so then the idea that you have an LII with gamma values seems maybe, I don't know, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, it does make sense if you separate, information preference and the values. It does make sense. I guess I know.
Perhaps.
When you think of valuing, you're thinking of information preference. What are you thinking of?
That seems to be what my understanding of values. I mean, in classical socionics, we learn that certain functions are valued, right, and that value seems to be what you're defining as preferred functions or preferred for information exchange. So an LI would value FE.
They're not preferred for
FI.
information exchange. Values are what you kind of live by. It's just what you know naturally, the environment you expect. But then
So
that's not
that's
quite the
different
same as
from a valued function as it's defined in classical socionics. So
yeah,
I'm
it
saying
is
the
different.
parallel between the classical socionics valued function and Victor's model is that the valued functions in classical socionics roughly correspond to preferred functions in Victor's idea, which are different from values, which are something tangential to this, then, which are more of a derived quality than tied tightly into the functions.
Yes, I guess yeah, that is actually more accurate. The values are more of derived, but
right. It's more.
It's
I think it's quite
Practice-
neat because it seems to be taken into account upbringing in the.
yeah. I mean, upbringing can influence it, but it's not
Also,
it's not quite a clear-cut picture. You can't really say that it's each time an alpha type doesn't really share its the type's values.
So,
It can
Alf,
necessarily be too.
how does this all fit in with the CNH?
Well, I guess the pure types have the functions that they have I guess how do you want to? I guess how should I answer this?
Well, it's just like you've talked about. I know what we could talk about. We could talk about your particular type because you've talked about having stronger functions than your particular type and how you have been trying to figure out your own type. So if you give the concrete example of yourself, then it would be easier for the audience to understand.
Okay, I guess with me, I've been finding that even though I prefer the functions I guess intuition structural logic and the intuition of time. As information exchange.
What type do you see yourself as again?
Somewhere between it's I guess if I have to choose a gunpoint, it's a ILI.
You said ILI?
Yeah, that'd be intuitive logical introvert.
Right, but you say
that and the logical intuitive introvert.
So you're saying you're somewhere between an ILI and an LII.
Yeah, and I cannot quite say that I guess the information I naturally orient towards structural logic and the intuition of time.
Interesting. So you feel you value both of those then?
Yeah.
Or prefer them, or whatever the right term is.
They just naturally characterize my my personality, my mannerisms, and my behavior.
Right.
But then I cannot decide whether I value I seem to. I guess this is where I even get confused by the term valuing itself because I just prefer. I mean, yes, I do prefer the information, but I don't see myself actually. Yes, I don't prefer NE or TE as a. I can't say really I value the functions themselves, but neither do I really suppress them as
Alf, when someone values something, values a function, do they also like that function in other people? And so that would be a way to tell. If you like the function in other people, then you value it. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, that would be fair to say. And apparently, if you don't value it, you dislike it. But still, that's never made that much sense to me. I mean, for some people it does make sense, but that's where I find that I don't actually dislike the functions themselves.
Stephen, could you show Model A Balzac next to Model G Balzac?
I will do so. Let's see.
But anyway, with in terms of valuing, apparently, as an LI, as an ILI, according to Victor, I don't value any, but then that's actually preposterous because I do like new ideas, and I do like exploring new ideas, just everything that's new, and and really neither can I say that I suppress structure in business logic because I will I will take into account
Hmm.
uh, any pragmatic conditions, but so I cannot really say that I ignore NE or TE.
Of course, the brain being a dynamic system, because you have investigated it so much, you are actively affecting these functions.
Yeah.
Because Dario has talked about, I mean, he has noted how people learn in NLP, and he went to a conference about it, that it actually does change the wiring of the brain.
Really?
Learning NLP. Yeah.
Well,
So
this is the model A.
Scott, I guess you're still not satisfied. Is this element of valuing still proving to be confusing for you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying. That values seem to be, in Victor's concept, more of a colloquial use of values than in classical socionics, where values seem to be tightly tied to the specific information elements in specific positions that lead to you valuing those. And so to me, if the values on the paper are inconsistent, in other words, if you think of what the values are shared and try to write them out, and those are inconsistent with the types, that means that what you've written, the values you've stated are not stated correctly, and you need to revise them based on the information elements, because it's based off the information elements. It seems like in Victor's conception of socionics, or at least what you're saying here, is that values are a more colloquial thing and more detached from that, and thus, it's possible to get to the same values in different ways. You could get to gamma values with alpha information elements, for instance.
Oh yeah.
Something to that effect. So again, it's not so. Based on that, I understand that concept.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel like I have a good grasp on what these values look like and what they mean and how they relate to different types of this. But again, that's probably way beyond the scope of what we can talk about today. But I feel like I understand how they're
apparently
detached
that
from
should be due
the way
to
they use.
behavior because I mean, just like Kazi, Victor, he bases his types on a observable behavior.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and that's why you find that some people do align with this, with the structure, and then some people they don't align with the structure.
In terms of, if you think of the ENTP, they actually have two names for it, don't they? Like Inventor, Explorer. And so like there's two different versions of the ENTP, where you can imagine one that is NETE, where they imply themselves a lot more, and then the other one that's like the NEA Type 7. So you can get big differences within types. And that was a problem that Victor dedicated himself to, was trying to explain these huge differences within the same type.
What's also interesting here is what we're talking about with regards to the, an ILI and being on the line, close to the line between an ILI and an LII, because in classical socionics that shouldn't exist at all, because that's sort of saying that you've got the mental ring and you've got the vital ring, and it's sort of saying your mental ring and vital ring are almost switched.
Yeah, that's why I actually prefer the model G, because my in my I guess in my ego ring really, the two dominant functions actually share the same orientation.
Yeah, in the social mission.
So can I ask another question?
Yeah, go on.
In this model here, and also in classical socionics, the management or base function is seen as something you would think about. The creative function here, or demonstrative function, it says here, is what is done rather than what is thought. You just flipped off of it. Can you flip it back? What is done rather than what is thought and or said. So do you find that to be the case with TI and NI, in the sense that NI you think about and discuss, and TI is you prefer to do?
No, I prefer to think about both functions.
Can I just
You
say
almost have
something?
to-
I will just first and think about both functions.
I asked I got an example from Victor of this. It was where
That's what
he talked about the ESFJ being FESE, where you don't really see their SE until they lose their temper and they'll use emotional pressure. And so,
Right.
so their SE is very much in the background in terms of they've got all this willpower, but they're not aggressive with it. And so it's
Right. Yes.
Yeah, I've been finding that quite I guess contradicting the subtypes in a way because it's only distant subtypes that are not reluctant actually to exercise their element of force.
Can you give an example?
Well, I guess by being distant in nature, for example, if you take I guess I'll use an SEE as an example.
Yep.
They are by being either normalizing or harmonizing subtype. They don't like tension, so they're less likely to impose themselves or to defend themselves. But at the same time, they still have I guess they still have the SE being quite strong in them because I mean they are expansive in their in influence.
If you tell us more about this type, Stephen and I can think about how closely it matches Jeff, because Jeff is someone who's quite well. He's not. He doesn't fit the stereotype. But he does. He did this wonderful video, and Junior liked it. How he talked about he has the preferences, but he doesn't actually act on those preferences because of his personal circumstances.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Such as what?
Well, just like in any Type 7 lifestyle, where he realizes he has responsibility. I mean, he brought his son up on his own, and he would like to do the things associated with the ESFP stereotype.
Like being I guess being adventurous, is it?
But his personal circumstances mean he can't do that because he put all his. And I think he's a very strong FI subtype, and like for a long time he thought he was a Dreiser. Yeah, and FISE, and so he's only when he's just a little bit more. He's very expressive. He's like he loves being at the center of the attention, but it's not like in an arrogant way. He just likes the attention on him, and he talks very well about extroverted sensation, the difference between it in the ESFP and the ESTP, where the ESTP extroverted sensation really does fit the Socionics version of SE, where it's all about power and testing limits. Whereas for ESFP, it's a different thing. It has a different flavour to it. It's much more.
Yeah, apparently Victor would say that the SLE one is more Enneagram 8, whereas the SE one is more about influencing socially.
Yes.
Having the dominant social influence.
Now, would that be the creative FE in place? Because I've tried to ask Jeff about this.
Well, this is where Victor is kind of creative SE. No, it's not anyway because
sorry, FE. Creative
Liza
FE.
would have creative SI.
No, sorry for Napoleon. SEFE. I frequently ask Jeff. Whilst he is the centre of attention, I asked him, does he focus on other people? And he says yes. He likes to read their reactions to see how well he is doing in terms of entertaining them. Because I was trying to get a handle on how the Model G creative function of how FE works in the ESFP. Because I always try to match the model to reality. And so he would say it's incidental to what he wants to do. So he would say, when he's entertaining a lot of people, the FE is just in terms of he's reading his audience to see how well he's doing. It's not like thinking of so I definitely would like more information on how the creative function is used in Model G.
He would the SPs would do that because the artisans are about effect, aren't they? They want to make an imprint.
Oh yes. You've read all that section, haven't you, Stephen? Did you read all that section?
I realise what I've read only when it comes up.
Right.
I've read more of Please Understand Me Too than I have one. I've read a very small part of the original Please Understand Me. Please Understand Me Too. I've probably read more than I remember. I'm currently reading it, so it's always...
Yeah, even his son says that for the SI types, for the Guardians, it can be a little old-fashioned, but a lot of that stuff is still accurate if you like take away the things that are old-fashioned. But for the artisans, he talks about Kersey Jr. talks about the fact that his parents were artisans. His brother was a tough guy. When he was a fighter pilot in World War II, some of the artisans, Junior said that some of the artisan pilots were too much in the now, in that they would follow a kamikaze pilot, not realising that if they followed them, they'd die as well as they crash into the ship. And when he graduated from his psychology degree, he actually went into a ranch which was dealing with delinquent boys. And, and then after that, he went into the school system and he dealt with, he called them troubled and troublesome kids, and he noticed the same patterns. And then he looked at the hypomanic temperaments in sort of the gay happy, the happy side of cyclothymic in Kretschmer, and he noticed this pattern, and it says all of these children in the American school system are. So his observations of artisans was very much based on real life.
Are they hypermanic and hypomanic? I suppose you're both ends of the scale.
I actually had a look at that. Apparently, because I was thinking, and then I had a look because manic is like crazy, and so you can just below.
That's a misconception, really.
Well, in terms of manic is manic, so you can't get hypermanic. Even hypomanic is quite manic because you're just below like full-blown mania. It's still like crazy, is extreme.
Well, hypomanic is having too little energy, sort of not being able to do anything. It's like a depressed person. They're so depressed they can't do anything.
I checked it out. It means just below mania. It means sort of normal. Whereas manic, like there's something wrong with you. Whereas hypomanic is like just an extreme SP that isn't actually clinically manic.
Yeah. I've been hypomanic, and that makes a lot of sense. It's being there's a lot of control. The thing is, it's almost like somebody. Well, I imagine those who have done it, people who've taken certain substances, who feel too good. It's like feeling too good. Not so that it's bad, it's not pleasant. Everything seems to be so right, and the person actually has their extroverted intuition is turned on too much. So you're taking in too much information. The hypomanic person is.
Ah yes. Have you got personology to hand? Because I can give you the page number.
I've got everything to hand. It's just a matter of just jumping across the room.
Right. Okay. If you look at page 16 of personology.
Oh, just going down in the dungeon. Yeah, I've got the page 16. I want to say
Yeah,
right on.
yeah, these are the Kretschmer temperaments, and he's got hypomanic and
Oh, yeah.
so that'd be the what is it, the well, the hypomanic cyclothymic ones, the ones that are too what we got here, too active. And like all of these themes, we've got adaptable, egotistical, energetic, childlike, daring, extravagant, eloquent, fervent, focused, imprudent, joyful, opportunistic, self-satisfied, tireless, unhesitant, unworried. And so that would be like the extreme artisan.
These are all of my finest attributes.
I've put a red ring on all the negative ones. And then for the guardians, I've put loads of green rings for things that I like, and the only one I didn't like was unreflective. But for the guardians, they've got things like conscientious, that's good, dependable, good, diligent, good, enterprising, good, industrious, good, prudent, good, persevering, good, self-effacing, good, sociable, good, soft-hearted, good.
Yeah, the conscientiousness is fun. There are certain disorders that are endemic. The Japanese are kind of an extreme B-side culture, and they actually have too much conscientiousness. So when they'll apply deodorants, they'll wash too much, not to smell better, but because anything they have this sense that anything they do will affect others. So it's not that they're smelling; it's more that they're making other people smell. It's an extreme though. It's an extreme case of everything they do is, oh, how will this affect everybody else? If I go out, how will this affect everybody else?
So yeah.
So it's extreme conscientiousness.
So that might tie into what Alf was saying before about the difference between information and something that's valued, and the values can be affected by your surroundings and the way you're brought up, but you're still processing the information as your type.
Exactly.
So, for instance, he talked about that. Kersey Jr. talked about that. I think one of his wives was Asian, because they're more traditional in the guardian sense. Even when they're not that type, they act like a guardian.
Yeah, my theory is that people change types over the space of their life. So somebody can be a guardian and become anything.
What happened to Scott? Is he?
We might have been talking too much about Kersey, but
I've just got to check. I'm gonna go back to the.
I just think that another reason I can say I think Kersey is great for trying to understand SE types. Because if we give the example of Jeff, he was shown the original Please Understand Me, and he didn't accept it because he doesn't want to be categorized. And it was only when... So Jeff is very skeptical about all these systems, but when he saw that he couldn't deny it, that he saw all these people that fitted this SP temperament.
Yeah.
And
just go to any bar.
Oh yeah, and like his brother is like a super INTP computer guy, and then he's got another brother who's ISTP. His father was INTJ and worked with computers at Westinghouse, and so he has all this real world. But there's certain types he doesn't know. But in terms of TINE and NITE and TISE, SETI, he knows those types really well and has all these wonderful observations. And the theory, when I talk to him about theory, the theory has to match his observations, because the theory has to bend to reality. And a lot of times it helps to keep me honest, helps to ground my theories.
Yeah, I find that useful too.
I'm tempted to read this book before now. Not now.
Oh, yeah, I think you should.
I mean, I'm focusing on looking at cursing, going over it. But I'm tempted to this one.
I recommend you read the section on words.
You know, I'm very happy to say I believe I have done so from this book.
What do you think about that?
I like it. Have I read 100% of it? I haven't read sort of 80%. Right.
But just the things. I mean, how much did it match you? Because
it's fine. One thing is, I was going to say, how do you find the section? Another good thing about this book is it's quite easy to find the sections. It's all marked out.
I did mention to Junior, hey, there's a missing chapter.
I would say
it's not listed, and he said my father was old when he wrote it.
Actually, I would say it's come back to me now. Very accurate of myself. The word use. Yeah, very accurate. But there's some things that I think that are not quite so accurate. But it was quite alarming, for want of a better word. So I'm 405, relativistic, must be section. Strategic builders, yeah.
Have you seen how big the TINE profile is? It's 12 pages. It's the biggest profile in the book.
Ooh.
Accommodating designers, page 302 to 313.
Yes, you've got a thing. You've got in back word study.
Yes, this is like the proper Kersey. This is like the real Kersey, not the dumbed down version. This is like, and it mentions human action on nearly every page. And I talked to his son about it. He and his father taught Austrian school economics a lot, and so I asked him about what is the relationship between praxeology and human action, in the action that we talk about in the Kersey temperament theory. And he said he can't remember what his father said, but there's undoubted links between praxeology and the way his father would just concentrate on actions. Anyway, we need to be getting off topic a little bit, so...
Right, so I think it's pretty... I found it to be very on topic.
Like, something Jack would say, like, with the way he types with values, he'll use merry and serious, and he'll say something like, all the gammas are serious, right? And so, so the ESFP is serious. Jeff is very merry.
Yeah, he would type him as I think ESC in his own Socionics school.
But if you actually listen to Jeff, if you actually listen to him and take in the whole picture and not just little bits.
Anyway, he is following his own definitions, his own Socionics. That is the most logical conclusion. Taking account to the axioms he actually starts with.
Well, Lady Lullaby, we know Lady Lullaby is. We accept, Stephen and I, that she probably is NIFE, and she has been asking me to watch, and I will watch. Because now on air, people can hear this. She's asked me to watch her Type Me video with Jack, where Jack types her as an ENFP. And so I will watch that video, and then Stephen will do a video afterwards about maybe not so accurate. We could do...
Jack of all trades and master of none. Jack has been Jack. That's unbelievable. Maybe she is. Maybe it's true. Maybe wrong. I'm happy to believe I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're saying something else?
I mean, did you see the video? Because I mean, Jack was in line with his own school's definitions.
Yeah, I've not seen it yet. I've not seen the video yet. That's why I talked about it just now, to sort of force myself to watch it.
I had to hold my tongue as well. That's something that came to mind. But a certain part of a certain book that's been changed.
Scott, can
I recommend people watch Jack interview Elena, and to see how Elena is giving off all of this FE energy, and then look at Jack's response to her face, and then you see the disappointment on Elena's face.
Why are we talking about Jack so much? I'm quite surprised.
Ben, can I ask Scott something?
Yeah, go on.
Scott, how did you decide that you were a rational type in Socionics?
A rational type.
Yeah, according to Socionics' own definitions.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know that I ever made the decision that I was a rational type per se.
Yeah, because I mean that's one of my main problems. That's one of the reasons why I'm having a little bit of trouble with it.
I started off with from MBTI as an INTP. Right, and then I went to Socionics. I looked at looking at LII versus ILI and other types, and I guess.
So you translated your type.
To start, but I did check and make sure. I mean, one of the things that was clear to me is that my values are more in line with alpha than with gamma values, in the sense that I don't see the need to. I mean, I tend to more like to analyze and discuss more than I like to actually, do things and to. I don't value business logic over structural logic. Clearly, Yeah,
the same goes for me.
Right. I mean, there were a number of things, and I can't remember all of the things that were consistent with LI, but I don't know that I ever specifically said I was a rational type. If that was like a key point in this, it's directly. So that's an issue for you as an ILI. You feel you might not be irrational.
Well, I'm confused between what exactly constitutes a rational type and irrationality. I've talked to Gulenko, with Victor about this. And I mean, yes, he does say that if you have a tendency to actually live a structured life, then you are a rational type. If you tend to impose structure on your life, otherwise, you're just you're in a rational type. You tend to be indecisive. You tend to have a wait and see kind of approach to life.
See, to me, rationality for extroverts is pretty clear, but for introverts it's not as clear, because it's, what are you structuring? Especially for TINE, like TISE, it's clearly you're structuring the world around you, but for TINE, it's more about, it's not as visible, I think, for LIIs.
Well, again, that's why translating types isn't entirely consistent, because I mean many INTPs in the MBTI, they could actually be any type. They could be most likely be any one of the rational types. In one of the NT types in Socionics.
Alf, when you say INTP and MBTI, are you talking about their type or their typing?
People's typing, really.
Because that's the problem. That is the problem. Because I would score as a INTJ in MBTI, and Jeff would say that's because I'm not being honest with myself. Because it's like that thing with TE where you have the business plans, and so in theory you're all organised, but you don't actually implement it. So, but another thing Jeff said is when you actually take the proper MBTI, the JP questions are a lot better than in the knockoff online test. And he showed me the results for his MBTI Step 2. It was like really long, involved questions. And so this is. I can actually show this to people now, because this is what I posted.
Actually come out with a P instead of a J. That's one of the reasons why Victor says that he thinks that the JP type, for introverts, the J doesn't actually change.
Right.
If that makes any.
So this I remembered that I could my computer's cooled off a bit now, so I can share screen. So this is for the SEI, and I got permission to share this because I posted it in the ISFJ group.
Okay.
So like I said, I mean, only about 2/3 of the profile was understandable. The rest was vague. I'll try to get Maria to translate.
Could I invite somebody to this hangout?
What are they? What type?
ENFP, I believe.
What are they?
ENFP.
Is it Brandon?
No, it's different. It's a young female ENFP. Very pleasant. I've spoken to her over Skype and such.
Then, come then.
I'm not sure if she will appear.
If she's young and pleasant, that's fine.
She's nubile. I mean, yeah.
It's recorded.
She's
I mean, talking about stereotypes. I mean, Socionics really does go out there with the SI as cooking and cleaning. I mean, like Victor's questions for Laura. I mean, like the second two questions were, "Do you cook tasty?" and "How do you clean your room?" Whereas at least Dario can say that the SI types they're good at algorithmic logic, that they know where they are in the process and all that sort of thing. But what's interesting, this is what I talk about to people, is Victor has actually put Western SI, but it's categorized under the TI. So for instance, if we look here, this very much fits Guardians. Rigorous procedure is not an obstacle for him, as we'll be able to understand. And so this is interesting because they're TE polar, yet they're able to follow a structure very well. So I would say is they're less TE polar than the INFJ, than the NIFE.
But
oh yes, I compared it with I frequently cite, and I asked Junior about this, the FE in the SITE is if we split FE in half into two different factors. One, reading the emotions of other people and caring what other people think and socials. If that's one half, and then if we put the other half is the ability to actively express emotions and to change emotions in other people. So if you have those like two separate halves, the NITE Balzac is bad at both of them, whereas the SITE is bad at the expression, but they actually do care for other people more than the NITE, because they're SJs and they have that part of the brain behind their left ear, T5, that is very, I mean, my mother's like that. She doesn't express emotions, but she cares a hell of a lot about what people think, and she's very caring.
I would say they can have lots of anxiety, not knowing the effects they've had. How?
Oh yeah.
Actually, oddly, I have the sense of showing too much emotion amongst people, or too much expression.
Oh, that's in Victor's profile.
Is it? Tell me more about Victor's wonderful profile. So that's
right, okay. Well, if we look at this first.
Yeah, hang on, no. Okay,
I'll tell you.
Everything in context. If you want to look at this, please look at this first.
Okay.
I can wait.
Okay. So do you want to know? So you want to know the I like on FE? It's hard to understand. It's the language is a bit awkward. It talks about basically he has the Balzac as very emotional. It says here, so a grumbling mood spoils themselves and others. And it says they poorly manage their emotions, and it can arbitrarily it varies a lot between melancholic and something flaring up into so very emotional inside and very unstable.
Sounds great.
This bit is a bit hardcore, not good at mimicry or diction, especially during public speaking. So think Roam the Plant type. Oh, yeah, I shouldn't have said that.
Apparently, LaPlante is a lot better in person. Somebody I know met him and said very good things about him. He isn't as he is in Google Hangouts in person.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's what I noticed. I mean, that's why I say about the difference between FE polar and FI polar is that, in general, people who are FE polar, once you get to know them and you're at close range, you can. That makes a lot. That makes quite a ping. That does that chat. I wonder if I can mute the sound. Notifications.
I can't help think that these profiles, all of them, are coloured by the authors. It's well, that's how.
Well, this one is. This one's coloured by the author.
Very coloured.
So yeah, I mean, this is. I like this innovation that Victor has, where he has the ignoring function as very weak, and so for your SI DOMs do not like the SE, and like with Laura, she does not like the SE. Is that readable?
It's yes.
We're still showing the. I'm still seeing Ben's icon. I'm not seeing whatever he's trying to show.
Oh, is it? What about everybody else?
Oh, there it is now. It just appeared now. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on over here. That's strange. Okay, I see it now.
It's about as neat as my handwriting can get at that size, because I had to write it pretty darn small.
Mm.
I mean, the language is still a bit awkward.
Oh, by the way, the person I'm talking to, I'm not going to be typing lots of messages. The person who was going to join us is very keen to actually pay people for Socionics typing. So
Oh, what do you think? What do you think of that in yellow, Stephen?
I can't see the yellow.
Just where it says good mental imagery. What do you think of that quote?
Oh, right. Good mental imagery. Above good mental imagery, I think. Will learns from his mistakes. But machine translation. Very sorry if double step on the same take.
Rake.
Rake. Very sorry if double step on the same rake. This is a bit.
I thought that was great.
That's very metaphorical.
I thought that was great. I asked him.
His mistakes. Yeah. Okay. Very sorry if it's very sorry if he presses on the rake twice. He steps on the rake twice.
Yeah, because it'll whack you in the face twice.
Yeah, you'd be really sorry. You'd be livid.
Yeah, but like I asked Elena about. I thought that was a good gag. I said to her, Elena, "That's a good gag," and she said that's a Russian expression.
Oh.
That.
Oh.
Double step on the same
sorry,
rate.
but really feels like an idiot. Sorry for being an idiot. Or sorry for not being, Train yourself for any eventuality. Always prefer to have escape routes. Yes, that actually fits in with 5 and 6. Any sort of 5 and 6. Holds others from risky or reckless behaviour. Yes. Actually, I told somebody about how dangerous it was to be on a motor scooter.
So this one here, that's what Dario says about SI. I'll just zoom in on there because I can go up a touch. Okay, this is why we're going to do 3 hangouts on, at least 3 hangouts on SI, and 4 if Linda Behrens joins us.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to do.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, we're going to do 3 because Dario's going to present his case, and Victor's going to then present his case, and then the third one might be Linda Behrens if she turns up, and if she doesn't turn up, or we could delay it, and then the fourth one would be then discussing both sides and looking for the commonalities between the both. And Dario did mention that in 8 Keys of Self-Leadership, he did mention comfort quite a lot. And then I used the concept of the comfort zone, where the SI types actually feel comfortable sticking to those like routines and things. So like trying to bring them together as aspects of the same thing. So, but what's interesting is it's there, but he's characterized it under TI.
Wait, so you're saying Victor puts it under TI instead of SI?
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is as Alf said, that Victor does look at behaviour. It's just that he's categorised how Dario defines SI, because Socionics defines it differently, but Victor has observed the same behaviour, but he's categorised it as under TI. I mean, that same thing about, look, rigorous procedures and practice and going through customary and all of that, and then here we've got going again, sticking to a system. I mean, you've read about Guardians, Stephen. That sort of fits Guardians, doesn't it? That theme. Nice, go on. Right, if he's in right, so what do you think of that then, Scott?
What are you asking me about?
This just that bit of the profile.
I'm sorry, I was distracted.
Oh, that's okay.
Interesting that Laura now thinks she's no longer an SEI, she thinks she's an EII now. And, don't know if that should have any relevance.
She's debating it. She's debating it.
Yeah, I was just surprised to note that in my feed.
Yeah, I might do a video with her and Leon.
Yeah, so this is the SEI profile we're talking about here.
Yeah, this is their sort of mobilizing TI.
Yeah. So you can understand structural systems, which makes sense.
Yeah, it's just categorized.
Case records, yeah.
So the same behavior is categorized differently.
And it's got
right. I think that part of the reason why this happens is that Socionics has a more complicated structure to it than MBTI.
Okay.
So
Scott, I think you might be early in Socionics, because I mean, if you don't value structure, then you might actually be an extrovert.
Oh, I thought Scott was saying that he does value it.
I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, because I mean that's
in my
that
approach.
SI.
Alright, go ahead.
Huh?
Okay, we'll say like. Do you like it, Scott? Do you think it's a good thing?
What does that mean, though? Like.
Okay. There's certain functions that, if we were to rate, if we were to say, do you like TI more than TE? What are you better at? What are you more interested in?
Do I like what?
Pardon?
Do I like what?
TI versus TE. And you were to say which one you like more, which approach you like more, then you would say, as an LII, you would say, well, TI. And so then we will say, well, that is value.
Right, no, okay, he's asking me if I value structure. I'm saying that... I think I'm not saying it clearly, because I do value structure in my approach to things, in my approach to, like, an argument or, things I might do, like designing something.
Yeah.
But I mean...
Do you live according to your structure? Yeah. Yeah, then I guess you might be an extrovert actually. So I don't see a way you can be an introvert in this.
Based on what?
Based on not preferring, to structure yourself even in your work environment,
What?
Because I mean,
He
when
likes-
you value TI, then you plan structure, all your actions. It's not just about arguments, but even though arguments are part of it, but it's because remember,
I'm gonna have to go away
both.
and think about it to make that. I mean, I'm pretty confident that I'm not an ILE, but I can't make the argument off the top of my head right now. I need to go away and think
is it
about
because you think that ENTPs aren't really into structuring theory, aren't really into, they don't really think that much.
The profiles are quite
No, it's not that
different.
at all.
Because, I mean,
It's not that at all. It really isn't that. It's a. I just need to think about it, then I can make a better argument on it.
Okay.
But I'm pretty convinced that, I mean, structure what? My decisions tend to be structured. I tend to think through my decisions, analyze things, come to a decision, stick to that decision. I think that's rational, right? I don't tend to make random decisions.
Yeah, because I mean, that's the same for even the ENTJs in socionics, because they are scientists. They will actually, structure. They will.
LIEs.
Even ENTJs, both in ENTJs and
LIE,
TPs,
right,
they're scientists.
But I guess I
The
don't
ENTJs are
understand.
scientists in socionics.
So yeah, I mean, I would understand that EJ types would also make their decisions in a structured manner.
Yeah.
But you seem to be arguing that I might actually be an EP type, not an IJ type, because you feel I might not be adequately structured.
Yeah.
So I'm understanding
to put that in
hearing
layman's
what
terms,
you're
yeah.
saying, but so what I'm saying is that I do believe when I make decisions, I analyze things, I consider the intricacies of the decision, I reach a decision, and I tend to stick with it. I don't wind up, I don't make random decisions.
Yeah, all
I don't
NT
make
types are like that.
decisions.
All scientists, that's why they're called scientists. All scientists
Well,
are like
I don't
that.
know. Okay, so here's what I mean. I don't know what you mean by structure. Then, if you're saying that,
Well, it's what as Ben was describing that SI, that Victor's SI is more, at the MBTI SI is a socionics TI. If you
Yeah, very similar. One thing Dario said about that is he said INTPs use MBTI SI more than they realise.
well, I think the problem with MBTI, I think it's just a problem with MBTI because they don't have the concept of the superego. There's stuff that can go into the superego or into the id that doesn't exist in.
What I said when I spoke to this about Dario, he said that about this. He says MBTI does have an 8-function model. It's just that what we know of it is the stuff of people talking about it online. That the proper MBTI has an 8-function model, and they've had one for quite long now. It's that we need to know the proper MBTI. The most advanced kind, where it does have an 8-function model. And this is what we can go into when we have that. And you can ask him this, Scott, when we have the Hangouts with Dario on SI.
Mm-hmm.
And we will, and if he's not available, then we'll do a Hangout maybe on another young Galenko temperament. But we will be doing 3 to 4 Hangouts on SI, because we really want to investigate the comparison.
But I'm fine with the idea that SI and TI are defined differently in MBTI. I think the socionics definitions are generally cleaner and allow it to fit into the socionics 8-function model. I mean, maybe the MBTI ones fit into their model also. I don't know.
I look at it from the other way. Is I will look at Guardians and I'll say, right, both of them are right. SI is both of them. Both of them are correct.
Both MBTI and Socionics. Well, they're just different ways of defining it.
Yeah. It's different aspects of the same thing. All the Guardians do the Socionics SI, and they also do the Western SI thing as well. And if you look carefully, it's just that it's categorized differently. Like I said, when you looked at the TI section, they put that bit, and they categorized it. Victor categorized it under TI. and so I have done some, but I've had to stop share screen at the moment because of my computer's getting a bit hot. Once it's cooled down a bit.
Screen saving. It's not showing your thing anyway. It's been showing your thing for a while.
Oh yeah. Because I switched off the screen share because
right. Yeah.
It was getting hot.
That's right.
It was going up to 91 Celsius.
Yeah, that's not good.
Before it was at 70 Celsius. I don't know why the screen share makes it go up to. Because last time I did it, I had the Dario interview should have been 3 hours long. That's how it lasted for us in reality. But it got cut in half.
Right.
Stephen's on the way back. Do you want to say something else? Given that we recorded?
Yeah, I think I just forgot what I was going to say to Scott. I think. It's not goes back to the introvert. Why do you think you're a Socionics introvert?
Let me think about it. I can't piece the argument together off the top of my head right now. I mean,
what do you understand about introversion and Socionics? I guess
let me think about this, and let me think about it, then I can explain. Or you can talk about what your concept is, but I just can't think off the top of my head right now because I've been tired and listening to these things for like 2 or 3 hours straight now. So my brain is a little frazzled.
Okay, well, while you think about that, Alf, you can tell us about some of the other quadras.
Not today, I don't think, but I need to.
Yeah, I think it's been over 2 hours, haven't it?
What, this particular hangout?
Yeah. How long has it been?
Oh, I don't know. Let's have a look.
Yeah,
I'll have a look at the side. 1956. Oh yeah, it's been about nearly 2 hours, yeah.
Okay.
And I think Stephen is on the way back. Oh yeah, so let's get this nailed down, Alf, in terms of when Victor is talking about plus and minus in Model G, he's talking about negative and positive in terms of attitude. Is that correct?
Yeah. I think is the negativist and the.
So just to if we end on a high, if you go through each of the functions. If you go through each of the functions and you give us the negative and positive view of each function.
Yeah, okay.
You're gone.
I guess if you're going to start with E, the positive version is actually more inclusive. It's it serves others. It's designed to actually serve others more, whereas the negativist version is the one that is more dramatic, more I guess it could be more melancholic. It's the beta one. It can be more expressive. I guess it can be a lot more negative if you have to describe it in a rudimentary way. Whereas with the
Oh right, got you. So if we put some bones on this, so the ESE is E plus, and is the Hamlet are they E minus?
Oh yeah, they are.
And right, okay, that makes some sense. So what would you say about Hamlet then in their FE?
It's more dramatic, and it's I guess it's got a lot more. Yeah, it's more passionate. It can have it's because only Hitler is thought to be Hamlet.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay. So if we now go on.
Yeah.
If we do TE now, if we do P now, practical thinking or business logic.
Practical logic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Apparently
minus.
Oh yeah. The difference that the positivist version is more experimental. It's willing to take a risk, to try new things, and whatever works.
Which types are those?
That's the ENTJ,
Right.
ENTJ and ENTV. They both have positivist logic. Whereas the negativist version, the one with the marshal and the administrator.
Is that
that's
TESI, the administrator? That's supervisor.
That's a Yeah, that's a LSC.
Yeah.
That one is actually more about managing what's already there. It's about
Gotcha.
taking care of scarce resources,
Yeah. Logistics. Yeah. Right.
trying to utilize them as efficiently as possible.
Oh, I've in this one here. I've got I Elias minus P.
Yeah, that is correct.
Right.
And then when now going to what's the next function?
Oh, if we do the other. Okay, if we do L.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, with L, the negatives version is all about trying to understand and deconstruct the world, looking at the structure and the who's
Yeah, I think I might be Scott.
okay, all about you deconstructing the structure and actually understanding things. Whilst the positives version is more of implementing a structure.
Yeah, sorry, it was Stephen.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so
The
positivist. Right, so positivist is implementing the structure, and the negativist.
And it's living against, it's living much more, closely against it. A set of, ideals.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, both can be about structuring. They're both about structure, but one is more oriented towards deconstructing and understanding, whilst the other one, yes, but they both do that. But then one is more about implementing. The other one is just more about deconstructing.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah.
So if we go on to R now.
Oh yeah, okay. This is where Victor says that the positivist version is actually more inclusive. It's much more it's correspond to the Enneagram 9, where it's passive. It just tries to see the best in everything, and it just focuses on what is good.
I've got that as FINE. The EII is FI plus.
Yeah, whereas the negativist version is actually more about criticize, seeing what's bad, erasing the bad.
Would that be the ESI? Would they have FI minus?
Yeah, it's about finding what's wrong and actually erasing the negative.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. So, what do you think? Do you like these spins that Victor has come up with for the functions? These negative, positive for the functions. Alf.
Well, I think they're interesting, really.
Okay, so we've done the judging. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, but I find that again, they may not entirely be useful for everyone.
But do they work for the dominants?
I guess for the dominant. Which dominant type? Do you mean the?
Well, anyone that's the lead, their lead function, like the plus minus. Do you think that fits?
Yes, it can, but not entirely.
Right. Okay.
For some people it works, I guess, but
Okay.
for some it may not be. It doesn't work as well.
Okay. So if we now go on to the perceiving functions, if we do F.
Yeah. That's where the negativist version is all about power, trying to seize power, seize control, trying to to take control of
Is that CTI? Is that
that's a SLE.
Yeah. Right, so
that's about seizing power.
Yeah, that's excellent. And so, is the positivist version more like?
It's all about influencing. It's much more. It's all about influencing. Instead of taking away.
Is that more how David Kersey sees SE and the Artisans?
I'm not quite sure.
Well, he would see them as he would define them as their main goal is yearning for impact.
Yeah. In a way, that can rudimentary apply to both the SLE
Yeah.
and the SE. But sorry,
Yeah.
with one of them,
Yeah.
it's just more about taking away territory. Just taking out.
Yeah.
It's about trying to take away from others, and you eliminate your competition by taking away all possible means of for them to actually.
Right. So
Yeah.
Berens and Nardi would see FE, no, not FE, SE as improvising and being very good in the moment and having a tactical intelligence and being very good in a crisis.
Yeah.
And the way Jeff would, it's just acting on impulse and thinking that's a good thing, acting on impulse.
Yeah. I don't think there's much I can say for that.
Okay, so if we do SI now, positive and negative.
Yeah, okay. Apparently, the negative version is more of trying to find whatever can disturb the peace. I mean the environment, and actually eliminate it. Whilst the positivist version is actually trying to maintain whatever systems already in place.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So if you just go through that again, I can try and relate that to Western SI. If you say that again.
The negatives version is actually trying to find what is uncomfortable, and they're trying to eliminate it. Whilst the positivist version is actually trying to to maintain what's already there.
Ah, so you're talking about maintaining continuity.
Oh yeah.
Ah, interesting. Interesting. That's interesting. Oh, let's have a look at the ESE. Which kind of... Are they SI plus or SI minus?
According to the energy, I'm not sure of the...
Highly... Oh yeah, they are... they are... Oh, they're positive SI.
Oh yeah.
Right, so... Right, positivist. That makes... Would the LSE be negativist?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that fits with Kersey. That for them anyway. Now, if we do, right, there's a couple. Right, now if you do the NE, please.
Yeah. This is one that's quite weird. Apparently, the positivist version is the one that's about exploring new ideas and just seeking after the new, whatever is new. Whilst the negativist version is actually looking between the lines and trying to find something new. If that makes any sense.
Right. Okay.
The positive version is the one that's more realistic and more experimental, just chasing after whatever is
right.
Whatever's available. Whereas the negative version, yes, they are both adventurous, but then it's more of about looking between
so is
for things that are not obvious.
Would you say the positivist NE is more extroverted?
In a way, I guess at a rudimentary point, yes, I'd say that.
And so,
but I still don't feel like it's entirely accurate.
Yeah, I was just sort of like groping for a way to. So, for instance, with LII, you have negative NE. Now, from my point of view, that makes it better. Because NE with a positive spin is like too wild, too much out there. The way you described it, I think. Because I like it serving something else. And I think the next one is if you describe intuition of time, please, with the different positives and negatives.
Okay, and then finally, the final one is the positivist and negative. Is it intuition of time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Victor has talked about this before. He says that the negativist version is all about trying to it's going it's predicting the future by looking at what has happened in the past, whereas the positivist version is the one that's more idealistic. It starts from the now and then looks at what has got more potential. I mean, it's strange, but that's how Victor has described it.
Interesting. Interesting. Does ENFJ, does Phi Ni and Ni Phi, do they both have negative NI?
Who?
The Hamlet and Justinian, do they both have negative
No,
NI?
the Justinian has got positive NI, whereas the Hamlet's got negative NI.
Right.
Which is
Right then. So that might be. Do you want to say anything else, Alf?
no.
I tell you what, we
I
could
think
get
that's
back. Now Scott's had a think about it. You could.
I haven't been thinking about that. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I got sidetracked.
This
You can
pretty
send me
much.
your message on Facebook.
I mean, what?
You can send me your any of your thoughts on Facebook. I mean, you've got my.
Yeah. I'll do that. I think there's probably a number of things that I think that you could use to make the argument. I think I do have a structured approach to things. We'll have to think about specifics. I think I'm a negativist. I think I'm SE polar and not FI polar. I'm pretty confident about that. I think my NI is stronger and more usable than my TE. I think I have a good grasp of where things are going and such, more so than I have the ability to, to use business logic in a productive way. So, I mean, there's a number of things there that lead me to think LII over ILE. And if I think further, I'll not be able to make that stronger.
Yeah. In the actual profiles are very different. The way Victor describes the ILE.
Right. So to me, I think I guess I don't have those profiles, but so I'm pretty confident LII is correct, but I can give Blessing some more detailed rationale point.
They're hard to understand, these profiles, but I think I really like the LII profile that Victor's written. I think it's really good. Well, in terms of it's a really good match of me. Right then, so this might be anything to. I think I asked Alf. So this might be time to wind it up then.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are signing off. Advanced Socionics, signing off.